All the ladies have gathered. It's something to do with the actor James D'Arcy with us now. Not that we would recognise him from his latest film, W.E. He plays Edward VIII, and one of the main distinguishing factors is Edward VIII has hair.
Yes, he does, yes. And it's blonde.
And why do you not have hair at the moment?
Well, I've just finished another project called Cloud Atlas, and 2 weeks ago I was bald for that project. So, in fact, I've got quite long hair in my head. Yes. It seems quite long to me at the moment, but obviously, by comparison with W.E., yes, it is a bit short and the wrong colour.
Yeah, I wonder what Wallace Simpson would have thought of that. Now, this is directed by Madonna, which is one of the reasons it's getting lots and lots of headlines. You had your premiere last night in London. What's her take on this? Where's she coming from with this one?
Well, she's taken a story that I think we all know, we think we know something about.
Yes.
We certainly feel that we know what Edward gave up, because it's a big headline. He gave up the throne. He stopped being the King of England. But what is very rarely discussed is what did Wallace give up. So it's a wonderful take. It's a female-slanted film told by a very strong woman.
Does that mean that we may end up liking Wallace Simpson a bit more? Because it goes without saying, I suppose, in this country, she's a bit of a boo-hiss character.
Right. Well, I think that, like all human beings, she's three-dimensional, she's complex, as was Edward. And I think as soon as I hear words like royal... abdication, 1936, I feel very distant from it. And what Madonna's done very cleverly is she's told the story through the eyes of a modern-day character, so that we, the audience, hopefully have a chance to feel a bit more identification with that period story. And really, it's a film that just asks the question, what would you be prepared to sacrifice for love?
For love? A very interesting question. Hold that thought while we have a look at the film.
David, let's stop all this talk about marriage. It frightens me, and I can't see any good coming of it.
Why?
Your family will never stand for it. The Prime Minister won't stand for it.
Then I'll give up the throne.
And I will be the most despised woman in the world.
Wallace Simpson, played by Andrea Riseborough, there. Were you taught to become regal to be Edward VIII?
Yeah,
Did you have to act
We had
royal?
what Madonna termed the posh police. Came to visit us and showed us how to use the knives and forks. Yeah, so we did have a go. You know, the truth is the costumes do so much for you. We had these beautiful, beautiful costumes, and they make you stand and feel different. They do make you feel like the king.
Yeah.
Is it true that Madonna got you to audition over Skype?
I did meet her initially over Skype.
Oh, you met her? Oh,
yeah.
right.
I thought it was going to be a 3-minute Skype conversation, and it all seemed a little bit surreal, obviously, Skyping with the most famous woman on the planet. And it became even more surreal when her face froze about 10 seconds into the conversation, and I was
Really froze?
I mean, it got stuck, you know, the image stuck. And I started to panic that, firstly, should I say something? And secondarily, had I frozen in a slightly gargoyle-like pose, thus completely negating my chance of getting the job?
She gave you piles of books with loads of post-it notes in it to revise the character. And
she's the most well-researched director I have ever worked with. I mean, honestly, I can't talk about her work ethic in more glowing terms. She really, really knew her onions. I mean, there's reams of material on these two, and she gave me all these books. If a line wasn't, if a sentence wasn't underlined, it would be highlighted. If it wasn't highlighted, there was a post-it note saying, "Look at this book," and making reference there.
Her previous film, wasn't she booed for that when she went to the premiere? Because
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Oh right, okay. Well, hopefully this one sounds.
She gets a hard time as an actress and a director, I suppose, as well. I suppose the thing is, she's just an icon as a pop star. It's probably very, very difficult for her to be accepted in other fields.
Well, I suspect that we do find it difficult once we've become very familiar with someone doing one thing to see them doing something different. But, you know, she spent 30 years being probably the most famous woman on the planet.
Are you allowed to call her Madge?
I've never called her Madge.
No,
I've never heard anyone call her Madge.
Okay, don't do that. Don't go there.
She curtsy to you, is that right?
She curtsies to me, and she also calls me Your Royal Highness whenever she sees me, which is a very nice way to start the day.
You're hoping other people might adopt that, are you?
You never know, it might catch on.
Is she scary? I mean, really, honestly, is she really scary?
Really, honestly?
Yes.
She's very direct. She doesn't really do small talk, but she's incredibly nice. That was the big surprise about her, was that she's really good fun. That was what I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. She was determined to make you royal, and all the things you've got to do as an actor to get into the part. You had to learn the bagpipes, for instance, in just 6 weeks.
Well, I went to see a bagpipe specialist, and he said that can't be done. It takes about a year. And so I wrote Madonna an email and said, well, he says it can't be done, but he also says, good news, that he thinks he can make it look like I can play the bagpipes.
Great, yes.
And she wrote back instantly saying, that's great. I think you should learn to play the bagpipes. Just because somebody says you can't doesn't mean you have to listen to them.
Oh, dear.
But it was... The amazing thing was, I then did feel that the gauntlet had been thrown down.
Yeah.
And I did manage to play this song.
Brilliant.
You know,
I look forward to seeing that.
Amount of time. Well, it got cut, so you can't.
After
You'll
all that,
you'll have to get the DVD.
you did a year's work in 6 weeks and it gets cut.
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, okay.
Bagpipe extras then. DVD.
The film is at a cinema near you. It is just out. It is called, we think it's called W.E., not
Yes.
we, but it's big W.E., and it's about Wallace Simpson and Edward VIII, and it's the story from Wallace's perspective. Lovely meeting you, James Darcy. Thank
Thanks,
you very
David.
much indeed.